making no sense with Sena.
All right, we are here with my pal Adrienne Perry, who has got this new amazing position here at the Omaha Library. What's your title? You are the CEO of the Omaha Library Foundation.
So we are the private fundraising arm that keeps everything free and accessible here within the OPL system.
Okay, awesome. So, and your office out of the brand new Omaha Central Library?
I got a groovy office. Yes, we're here in the new Central Library. We're sitting on the mezzanine floor, and there's a lot of activity happening. As you can see in here, we had an extraordinary response to opening day. So it's nice. We have a little bit of a bird's eye view up here from the foundation office wing of the Central Library.
I love it. Yeah, great view over here. You can kind of see that. I'm going to walk around later and get some more shots of just the whole place.
Yeah.
Throw that in also. But man, this is so cool. So I thought what I would do is I first want to kind of talk about, you and everything that you have going on before we even get to the library. And then we'll kind of finish with the cool stuff, the new cool stuff in the library, which is very cool. So first of all, when did you guys open officially?
Yesterday, on April 19th. So we officially started yesterday. So this is what you might call a true day one. We had modified hours yesterday, but today is the full. It'll be 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday. And there are people waiting to get inside already. So the study rooms are full. There are people milling about. There's people coming in. Thankfully, you found parking because parking is lively. In the new underground, I didn't even know that existed. So there's surface parking and then there's underground parking. All right, we'll get to all the library stuff. Let's first, we have a nice little soundtrack going on. This is the Omaha Central Library, baby. It's a place for everybody.
This is absolutely. I mean, I was downstairs waiting in the lobby. I was like, I could sit here all day and people watch.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such an awesome energy right now, especially. But so, Adrienne, how in the world did you come? And you were just recently. Did you get appointed this position as a position that you applied for, accepted? How did that work?
Yeah. So I applied. The Library Foundation has existed for about 40 years. So since in 1985. OPL and the Board of Trustees worked to create a foundation. So the foundation is a separate entity from the Omaha Public Library system. OPL is public, is a city department. We are a private foundation. And with Central Library's build and within the growth and change that OPL was experiencing, there was a desire to see the foundation grow and stretch alongside that. And as a result, there was a national search done for a CEO of the Library Foundation. I saw the posting. I thought, now that is a cool position to raise money for the library system, to be part of Central's opening. So I applied thinking, nothing's going to happen. And then it was a long interview process, probably about 4 months. And then I was, to my really great surprise and humbleness, was offered the job and accepted and began December 1st.
That's amazing. I mean, credit to you. You did not come from, you've been in the private retail world for, I know, a long time.
21 years.
Right. So first of all, good for you for like throwing your hat in, and then amazing, you got the gig.
A friend said, wow, that was kind of a plot twist. And I was like, yes, I think that was. I had I thought I had the job of my lifetime at Borsheim's, where I had grown up. I started working at the store when I was 24 years old. They gave me so much grace and latitude to learn. And I thought that's where I would retire. I thought I would stay at the store always. And I probably would have if this job hadn't appeared sort of magically and the board was willing to take a chance on a non-nonprofit executive. I've served on nonprofit boards. I have worked with nonprofits, but I have never run one. But it is also just me. I am the entire foundation. So we're a pretty small shop. This will likely grow in the years to come, but we operate pretty leanly and efficiently so that all of the donors' dollars, or as much as possible, go to the public library, which is the institute that they're supporting. You can't give directly to a city department. So that's where the foundation exists to help steward those dollars. When people want to support the library, they come through the OPL Foundation.
Is this common in other cities? Is that where we?
Yeah. Most library systems can be their own nonprofit. They can be a city department. There's a lot of different ways to structure a library system for its public funding, but ours is decently common. It is a city department, it is not a nonprofit. And then there's two entities that serve to support it, the foundation and then the Friends of the Public Library. Many large library systems have both of these entities. Friends is a little bit more grassroots, all volunteer driven. Foundation helps to augment the private or the public money through private philanthropy.
So you said that you are the foundation.
Yeah.
Is there a board associated with that then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So OPL, so there's in a true literary style, there's like a couple characters to map here. You have OPL. OPL is governed by the Board of Trustees, which is appointed by the mayor. You have the foundation, which has its own nonprofit board, also is involved, but is a governance board. Some of those board members serve in both capacities. So some board members are both foundation board members and trustee board members, but not all.
Okay, so going back to your Borsheim's life, which it really was. You were there. That's how I came to know you.
Exactly.
And through the salon. But so you came into there, you were, what'd you say, in your 20s?
Mm-hmm.
So you were young. Tell me about that. Tell me about your life there, that lifeline, and what you ended up doing there, what position you had and all that.
So I had a long journey at the store. I started as an entry-level marketing specialist. So I had worked one job out of college and then was living in Milwaukee and decided to move back to Omaha. And I thought a mother of a friend's sorority sister was the sales manager at Borsheim's, and they said, oh, there's a bridal registry coordinator position open and there's a marketing specialist position open. And I was like, I'll apply for both. and I ended up getting slotted into the marketing specialist role. I am an English and public relations major by academics. So this was new. So I learned on the job, and then I continued to stay in marketing for the next 12 years at Borsheim's, and then also began to slowly manage other components of the store, one being the store's philanthropy. So Borsheim's gives away money to nonprofits every single year. And from early on in my career, I worked with that program and helped evolve and change the program as the store changed and evolved and as the fundraising landscape changed and evolved. So we thought we could find some efficiencies, but also more collaboration if we all put sales under one executive manager. And I volunteered and stepped into that role, and then moved to the sales floor and really became hands-on with the inner workings of how these different distribution channels worked, maybe where there was some friction points that we could change. And that turned out to really be fortuitous timing, because then the world shut down and it was like, great, all the plans you had, redo them, because now the world looks differently.
Right.
And that was the silver lining of that challenging time, was it gave us a lot of freedom and flexibility to say, well, we wanted to make change, let's make some change. And we did that. And with a really great team on the sales floor to do that. So for me, probably the through line of my career has been marketing, has been communications, has been a bit understanding why people buy, or what are the levers that a business can or cannot control to help people along their customer journey. And that's really what informs this work now too. How do we plot what the donor journey is? How do they experience the library system? How do they donate if they're not heavy library users, but instead really value access to information for everybody? Mm-hmm. How do you explain the difference between private funding and public funding? I think those are things where I find it resonant. I also think here we are at Central Library, and it feels a little bit like a sales floor. You have people coming in, coming out. They're looking for something. They might be here they might be having the best day. They might be having a really tough day. Mm-hmm. And then the team here at OPL is there to interact with them, to help them find something, maybe to provide a resource. And hopefully they leave better than when they got here. And very so that feels a lot like my past life as well.
I was going to ask you, so, obviously you're here, your office here and everything, but what is it? Your purview is, it's for all the Omaha libraries?
For all the entire system.
And how many do you have?
So
I don't want to quiz you.
Quiz me.
You just started.
I know, it's a good
I was like, all right, how many libraries are there?
Central is the 13th branch.
Okay.
So they're up until Central opened, we had 12 branches. All libraries are hyper local. So that means their communities love them. The team around the community around Willa Cather loves that branch. The community around Swanson loves that branch. And so you have to be cognizant too that each library has a different atmosphere and a different way that patrons experience them. And so ensuring that the funding is appropriate for each one and is robust is critical, regardless of the size of the branch. There's a 14th branch planned in the coming years, and that will be in the far southwest corner of the county, about 208th and F Street.
Okay.
So then as we get our sea legs with Central, that will be, again, here we are in the middle of the county, probably closer to the eastern side of the county, but you're making sure that the library patrons in all areas of Douglas County have a branch that they can access.
So I assume you came into this position with a lot of stuff that was in place, that have been in place for years. I'm sure some of that stuff was like events that the Omaha Library does or has been doing forever.
Yeah.
But then are you coming, is it part of your deal to try and come up with new ideas, new events, all that kind of stuff?
New funding sources, which may or may not include events, different ways to broaden the reach in the community, so that when someone says, what should I do with my year-end donation, right? And they think, I love the Nebraska Humane Society, I'm going to give money there, or I love my children's school, I'm going to donate to the school. I want the library to be in that same mindset.
Sure.
The library is kind of like Dolly Parton. Everybody loves the library. Everybody loves Dolly.
Okay. Absolutely.
And so you want to be able for people to, from the marketing side, I want them to think about, if I love the library, I know how to support it. And I think there's just some disconnect between those two thoughts that I'm working to nudge up a bit better.
I'm learning things now. So did you grow up in Milwaukee?
No, I grew up in Omaha.
Okay.
I went to Marquette for college and then ended up staying there for about a year after college, working for a financial asset company.
Okay.
And then decided, I think maybe I wanted to come home to Omaha. I did not think that I would stay I did not think this would be a permanent move, but it turns out it was pretty permanent.
Yeah. That happened to me too. My sister went to Marquette. But she's older than me, and she stayed there. She loves Milwaukee. So a couple of things I think I see some symmetry now, hearing a little bit more about what you're doing and all that with, like you said, Borsheim's, the sales. I assume, you had a long list of reliable clients at Borsheim's. I could see some symmetry with foundational donors and things like that with some people that you have already dealt with in business and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And also, I know that you personally are a voracious reader. And that was the first thing I was just like, oh, okay, well, she's just going headlong into the whole, literary scene, So have you always been that much of a reader?
I've been a pretty big reader, and my family is a big readers, and so reading was something that was baked in. I remember going on family trips, and my brother would be sort of chastised because he will have packed like 7 hardback books in his luggage, and my parents were like, really, 7?
Right.
I gotta tell you, when I went to Vietnam a few years ago, I packed 10 books in my luggage, so this is like a Perry family tradition. So I have always been a big reader. When my girls were little, when they were born, and that first 5 years of their life, which I think we as parents can call like the blur, right?
Yeah.
You don't really know, you're just trying to get through it.
Hold on for dear life.
Right. And if you try to read, you're like, this book is going to fall on my face.
Yeah.
So I didn't read for a period of time. So when I started back up, I felt like I had some catching up to do. But I love it. It's mainly the way I relax. I had a friend recently ask me, like, what do you do for fun? And I was like, well, I read a lot. And then I developed, I sort of wanted to do more with my reading. So then I began to write Instagram captions about the books I was reading each month. And then it seemed like that was helpful to people, and they'd be like, I love your recommendations. So I thought, well, maybe I can expand upon that. I have more to say. And so I started about a year ago a Substack that essentially is like book reviews. I'm writing a book report here in my 40s for my 45 Substack subscribers, but it is fun. It helps. I think for me, it helps thread the connections between what's happening in the world, what's happening in my life, what's happening in these books, and what thematically are we discovering together. Well,
I'm a fan of your Substack also,
Thank you.
Also your Instagram posts. I'm always interested to see what you're reading. I love, and here's the thing, I feel like I'm such an observer of life and not that I don't do stuff, but I'm always drawn to there's runners and the whole like ultra marathoning, all that kind of stuff online. I'm drawn to that. I don't run at all. I would love to, I envision someday becoming that, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. But for whatever reason, drawn to that, I'm equally drawn to readers and literature. And I've got another good friend that puts out a regular list. She puts out a yearly list of her books and movies and all that kind of stuff too. But that's why I really started paying attention to your. Do you do it like monthly?
I do it monthly. So
Yeah.
I try to
On Instagram and on Substack.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it. So I try to. It helps me also remember what I have read and what I thought about it.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I generally aim for about 3 books a month. And sometimes I read more. Sometimes I read less. I try not to be too neurotic about
it. Seems like more. You are pouring through these books, which I'm always impressed with.
And this year, I'm trying a new thing. I'm trying to exclusively rely on the library system for my books. So not buying books at all, and then I took what I spent last year on books, which was a little over $200, and I'm like, I will donate that amount of money to the foundation, and then spend the next 12 months navigating the system as a patron and exclusively relying on borrowed books, which is its own kind of unique challenge, because you think, well, I want to read something, I want to buy it right now. And with a library, you have to have a bit of delayed gratification to say, okay, if this is a popular title, it could be a longer waiting list, but then it comes up and all of a sudden it's like a surprise. You're like, oh, my book is ready. So I have books on hold that I'm waiting. As they come up, I read them. Sometimes shockingly, I got too ambitious. I put like 15 things on hold, and then I was like, oh, I can't not get to this yet. And so then you turn them back in, and you're like, well, when will they come back? And so it's a bit of a journey versus just simply click and buying and then reading.
Right. Have you always been a library goer?
I have. My branch growing up was Millard. I grew up in West Omaha, so the Millard branch is what
Which one is that on?
That is on 132nd.
Grover?
Not quite to Grover, almost sort of between Center and L Street.
Yeah.
Kind of by the old Skateland for those of us who grew up in the 80s. Yeah.
Right. And then did they demolish it and rebuild it, or did they just?
Really good memory. In 1999, they added a whole nother wing to it, so it almost doubled the size of the branch. It is the highest circulating branch, so that is a branch where lots of holds, lots of checkouts. So it is very, very active. That branch, that one, and Elkhorn are 2 of our highest circulating branches. And so that was my branch growing up. When my girls were little, we were at A.B. Sorensen most every Saturday morning, either for story time or to experience the library. And so that was our little kid branch. It's still my home branch. I live near it. And then now here we are at Central Library, which is pretty groovy for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, well, I bet you're getting a huge education and just kind of like how the inner workings of how a library works.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you mentioned like a popular book. Like, so how in the world does that work? Like, does the library buy a bunch of a single title because it's popular? And then, I mean, how does that all work?
Yeah, I also think this ties back to my Borsheim's days. We have a whole team called the collections team, and essentially they are the book buyers, which in my mind also really relates to the buying team at Borsheim's. You have the world is your oyster for inventory. How do you apply both art and science to select what you think will be popular, what people are asking for, and then what the permanent collection also will need? So on a popular title, OPL will look at a couple of different factors. They'll look at how many people have requested this title, what is the demand, how expensive is this new title, and how can this be, how many copies do we need, not just physically, but then also digitally in large print format, and all of the different ways that patrons want to request and reserve a book. And then from there, they'll monitor the holds ratio, so that if the holds ratio gets really, really big, then they'll potentially allocate more dollars to buy more of that title. They also might not, because then they're monitoring books that go out of circulation. So there are no fines anymore. There's no overdue fines.
Oh, really?
But if you lose a book, like I already have done, then you essentially, instead of being like, let me go buy this book I lost, they want to see, hey, what does the collection need? And we'll curate that. So as much as I tried to be like, I'm so sorry I lost this book, here it is. They're like, we may not want that book for our collection because we may want the dollars to go to a new title or something else.
So would they ask you to buy a different book? Or
No,
do they just...
They're just like, please just pay. When you lose a book, you do get a fine. So they're like, just please, just pay your fine, and then we'll decide where it goes.
How interesting. Now, okay, you mentioned digital copy.
Yeah.
So we're in a, obviously a whole new age right now. How in the world does that work in a library?
Yeah. So there's so many things in a library that sometimes a new patron may not realize. So for OPL patrons, it's about 50-50 on digital checkouts versus physical checkouts, but physical still tips the scales for patrons here in our system. But digital, it works through what's called the Libby app. And the Libby app is downloadable on your Kindle, on your Nook, but then also on your OPL app. And you do the same thing. You place holds on digital titles. And when it comes, you can either, you indicate, do you want to read this? Do you want to listen to this audiobook? And then it's same as a physical copy. You get it for a period of time, and then you have to give it back. And you would think that they are not as expensive as physical books, but they are. Digital books and digital materials carry the same price as physical materials as well. So again, you think, oh, we can buy endless copies of them. We still cannot.
Right. I guess, yeah, that's so weird because you think, well, you should buy one digital copy and then everyone's reading that one, aren't they? But probably the licensing doesn't work
Exactly.
that way.
So it's still one patron to one copy of the digital material to ensure that it is the artist's work is correctly compensated and the licensing is appropriate.
That makes sense. Things you don't think about, but that does make sense. All right, so tell me technology, how else has it affected our library experience?
Totally. So I think Central Library sort of challenges this assumption that maybe a patron has when they walk in to see a warehouse for books, like quiet space, library stacks, lots of cardigans,
a lot of dark wood,
and it's not like it's lively here and it's loud and it's designed to be loud.
Yeah.
What the community said at the beginning of the build, and we were coming off of COVID, is that the connection for community and the desire to have a third space is what a modern library should look and feel like. So you can see on this floor here on mezzanine, we're across from study rooms. There's about 18 study rooms throughout the whole building, all free to reserve, all free to use. There's countless cozy chairs to sit in. It's a gathering space, and there are stacks. We can see there's stacks of books, and there's the book robot that stores most of the books in this building here. That then, essentially, again, coming from my retail days, you're re-merchandising the floor. You're re-merchandising constantly by what's getting checked out, what's in the book machine. As you're refreshing it a lot so that when patrons come by, they think, oh, I haven't seen this before. I want to do that. So you have a space that has traditional browsing like a library would, but has meeting spaces, as the public said they wanted to see in their library. And then there's cozy spaces as well for those that want to curl up with their work or with a book or a phone call or just somewhere between work and home. This is the space for them.
So forgive me for being old. Is there a card catalog here?
No, there is not. There is a seed.
Gosh dang it! I missed the card catalog.
Seed library, which is also something you can check out seeds here, and that's the closest thing that looks like to an old card catalog. And you don't check the seeds back in, but you can. There's what looks like old card catalogs, and they're little tiny seed packets. You can grow your own food or grow your own garden. And again, this is all complimentary. These are services that patrons with a library card can use complimentary. The foundation continues to fund to keep these free and accessible. But no, it's all through either your app. I like the app. My OPL app is a great app. And that's how you can call up books or you'll see at the end of the stacks are computer screens. And those computer screens, again, you can search for titles, you can place holds, you can browse. And it's all interactive. You can pick up a book, you can walk it over to the self-checkout, you can scan your library card on your app, you can scan the book, and you can walk out the doors. Like it is all there for patrons.
So you don't necessarily, there's not a desk that you need to check out with?
Not necessarily. There's lots of desks on each level, and there's even mobile desks. We see this one back behind us here, and that's a mobile space for a librarian or a branch manager and assistant branch manager to help provide that guest services, including checking out your books too.
All right, so you mentioned the robot. That's kind of been it's kind of like been the star of the show.
Yes.
Like I've seen a lot of the posts contain the robot, which I'll make sure to get some video of that too. So that's where the majority of all the books are?
So the robot is officially named the Automatic Storage and Retrieval System, ASRS for short, or the BookBot, as we affectionately call it. So the BookBot stores quite a bit. There's two towers. One side is for materials such as books. The other side is for archives and genealogy and local history. So it is a repository also that potentially other community institutions can offer to, can store their collections as well. It's fire safe, it's temperature controlled. So the BookBot allows to free up space for more gatherings because those books are stored there. But when you call it up, when you say, oh, I want to place a hold on this book and it's here in the ASRS, it only takes about 5 minutes for the robot to go and grab the bin, and then an OPL staff member pulls the book out and sends it on a conveyor belt that drops it off at main circulation for you.
Very cool.
It's cool.
It's very cool.
It's very fun
it is so neat. And it's huge.
It's very large. The building was built around it.
Yeah.
So it was installed. It is, to our knowledge, the only one that exists in a public library.
Really?
Yeah. These machines typically are either in academic libraries or in private libraries or in things like Amazon warehouses. These are machines that recognize barcoded materials, can pinpoint, it can grab the bin. It doesn't grab the exact material, but it can grab what it's being stored in. And then a human pulls it out and sends it and finishes the rest of the procedure.
I guess that makes, there's probably not a lot of opportunities for large markets to completely to build a new central library from nothing, from scratch.
Yeah.
I'm sure their libraries have been around forever and they're chock full and operate in the more traditional sense.
Yeah. So you can think, some libraries might store off-site. Right, you might have a warehouse that's temperature controlled, because even OPL has a courier system that is moving books amongst the 13 branches every single day. So the collection in the system is mobile. So if I call up a book and I want it at A.B. Sorensen, which is my home library, but it is out at the Willa Cather branch, the courier system knows that, hey, this book is on hold. It'll bounce back here to Central Library to be sorted, and then it will go on the courier to be dropped off at A.B. Sorensen. So these collections move all around, which is pretty typical for library systems. So some systems you rely on housing this elsewhere. We felt it best, the designers of this build felt it best to keep this here as also a testament to show what a public library can do, and to make it available for everyone. And that's really the ethos, not just of the system, but of this building, is that this is for everybody. You don't need to pay for access. You don't need to live a certain place for access. It's just simply for you. And it's really nice, right? The furniture is nice. The flooring is nice. Everything is really nice. And that was intentionally thought.
Yeah. Obviously you guys got to get down here ASAP. It's pretty crazy. The parking lot is full. I came over here at 3:00 on a Monday, and it was just jam packed. Of course, you guys just opened, but there is parking. I parked. There's service parking. There's parking underneath in a brand new garage. Also, that worked out nice. It took me a minute to wait for someone to pull out, but yeah. So, are you able to take a breath and just be like, oh my God, this is so cool?
Yes. Starting 120 days before this opening, didn't leave a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
But now that we're getting into it, I definitely equate it to jumping into the deep end of the pool.
Yeah, you did.
Now
wow, your timing.
And now it feels, and everybody's like, oh, thank you for your work. I'm like, look, if this project is a 24-hour day, I came in at 11:45 at night, right? This is the very tail end.
But what a heady time.
It was such an exciting time. And for me, it is starting now to feel like, oh my gosh, we're here. We did it.
We did it.
Wow, there's people are experiencing, they're walking through, they're checking out books. I have a donor who offered to do a dollar for dollar match of donations for opening week up to $10,000.
Wow.
So we're getting traction within not just experiencing Central Library, but supporting the whole system.
So if people want to give their support to the Omaha Library Foundation, there's I would assume a specific link just for that.
There's just a link for that. So our website has a donation link, and
I'll put it on there. I will also put your Substack link if
I would love that.
Mind.
I would love that.
I will definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that's just her. That's her curation. So what do you have what do you like to read? Do you have a specific genre?
I like to read whatever you are reading. So if you tell me, Tom, my friend, I read this great book and it was so amazing. I'm curious and I want to. Oops, sorry. I'm curious and I want to see what did you love. What tell me. And so I generally curate my books based on recommendations.
Well, I got one for you.
Tell me.
Malcolm Gladwell's The Revenge of the Tipping Point. Did you ever read The Tipping Point?
I did.
This is The Revenge of the Tipping Point. It's kind of the dark side of the tipping point. I just find him extremely fascinating.
Fascinating.
So I need to. That's why I need your Substack. I need your recommendation because I am a nonfiction guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that is all I've ever been. When I was a kid in the library, it was nothing but World War II books and aviation. That was everything that I ever did. And it's kind of lasted through my whole entire life. I mean, now I read mostly it's still nonfiction, like, him and, humorous David Sedaris. And I mean, a lot of, I'm also into a lot of, periodicals, the New Yorker and all that kind of stuff. But, and they actually just put out 2 volumes of poems, 100 years of poems and 100 years of short stories by really good people. That might be something.
Good recommendation.
I think I want to grab that.
Yeah.
Because that would be a great little, just some real easily digestible, which is probably more my speed. I think my reading has sped up. Do people always ask you about that? Like, oh my God, how do you get through this so fast?
Yeah.
I would assume you go through a lot of books. You have to be a fairly fast reader.
I'm a pretty fast reader. When I was an English major, I would read about 12 to 20 books a semester. And that's a lot to do in like 3.5 months.
Yeah,
and so
during your regular schoolwork,
it teaches you to read. It's always that balance between reading fast, but also not making sure you're not scanning.
Yeah.
And I think that too is you want to synthesize it. You can read
and
something.
Enjoy it.
Exactly. And not rush to like gamify to be like, oh, I'm going to finish this because I want to start my 17th book. It's finding that intention. I actually think nonfiction, you have to read nonfiction because that does slow your reading down. It's often more dense and it can be really thought provoking. So it's a different style of reading. I also think about this when poets write. When they write prose, write it in such a dramatically different way. So you have to kind of match your reading speed to the type of material you're reading. When I read The New Yorker, reading The New Yorker is so dense that
it's the little and it is just so dense.
You could spend like an hour on an article because it is just
thank you.
Yes.
I'm so glad to hear that from you. It's like, am I just like, because it is tough getting through those little thin, and then of course they come out so often.
I know,
you're like,
oh
geez, I didn't even finish the other one.
I did it's this. I'm like, how is this publicized every week?
I am amazed. That in itself. Because every article is just so heavily researched, and anyway, I'm impressed. But so all right, are you cool talking about your personal life at all?
I am completely.
So completely. We won't. Yeah. We're not going to go therapy chair here. That's for the slide.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. But distinct difference in chairs.
That's right. Absolutely. So you've got 2 daughters.
I have 2 daughters.
And they are now. I saw that they kind of helped. They were down here during your opening and so forth. How old are they? So
my daughters now, what I call are in like their little women stage. So I have a freshman in high school and I have a 6th grader headed to middle school next year. And so they are. You're starting to see they're sort of fully formed people. And
I thought they were older than that because they're readers too, aren't they?
They are readers.
I just from looking in completely from the outside, they just seem like really thoughtful young women. You must be so proud.
I am so proud. And then yesterday during opening, they wanted to be here. They wanted to be part of the excitement. And they wanted also something to do. And so collectively, the 3 of us, the mayor read a book that was commissioned for opening called A Place for Scamper. It's a children's book written by a local writer and a local illustrator. And they helped sell books that with proceeds benefiting the foundation, which thereby benefits OPL. And watching them like interact with patrons, watching them run a point of sale system, I was like, oh my, it was so like puff up, like right when you see your kids.
Oh yes, so proud.
Same with you, proud Papa. Like seeing your kids step into something that they haven't done before without trepidation is a pretty cool experience.
Yeah, especially when you're like, I didn't know they could do that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at them go. They're also musicians?
They are. My oldest is a bass player. plays with Omaha. She has learned to play through Omaha Girls Rock, which is now part of the Bay, and then also has volunteered at their camps as a instructor. And so it's really fun to hear her play her bass.
So cool.
It is so
It's
cool.
part of, what'd you say? It's part of what now?
Omaha Girls Rock, which is the part, the Bay, which is located here in Omaha, but also in Lincoln, absorbed OGR into its programming and absorbed it as an entity. And I think, and that is
that a good thing?
It's a great thing.
Good.
It is Andrew Morgan, the team over at the Bay. This is absolutely the perfect spot for them.
That's
and they're,
so cool.
They're running it well. But I think too, my girls have seen a lot of life transitions. I went through a divorce over 3 years ago, and we navigated that as a family unit. They watched also then, right? Sometimes change begets change. And so then they've watched me step from something very comfortable at Borsheim's into, I don't accuse the frozen, like into the unknown, in this role. And so for them to be part of that journey, for us, collectively, the three of us to do that together, it's been really cool.
I bet they are beaming with pride.
I hope so. I'm beaming that pride with them, but
No, I'm sure it's right back with everything that you've accomplished lately. All right, so I usually finish these podcasts by asking people, and this may come like out of left field, but I know you enough to know you'll enjoy it.
Bring it.
So what is one of your, or however many you want, songs or artists that pull you back from your life, that you like seem like you always kind of go back to, almost maybe guilty, like, oh my God, I play this, I wear this out too much, I should try to, because I always feel guilty. I need to I should branch out more. No, you tell me.
Oh my gosh,
tell me what's.
You're a phenomenal musician. So to get this question for you feels like an honor, because you are. I mean,
and it could be a guilty pleasure too. I promise you, it could be anything you want. Like, what is it that pulls you back?
I would say probably what pulls me back, and maybe what I could always listen to, and what I always think about as like a comfort album would be Paul Simon's Graceland. I just like top to bottom. It's a great album. Absolutely. I remember it from my childhood. I remember rediscovering it in my 20s. I love it.
That's
I love
awesome. And such a pivotal album for so many reasons, but chock full of just the most amazing musicians.
Yeah.
And he really shined on that. I get that one. Great. Good for you.
Well, tell me what's yours.
Well, I've clicked them off during these podcasts so many times. I mean, Joe Jackson, I'll name him because he's coming to Omaha, and so so he was like huge in the '80s, which was very much my formidable years of, in high school and all that kind of stuff. So I've seen him once before in Minneapolis, probably, I don't know, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago. So I'm excited to see him. And then I also just saw Pat Metheny, who's a jazz artist. He was just at the Holland Center last week, and I've only seen him once in my life too. And he's somebody that those two, I mean, completely different worlds, but I wear them out. So it was great to get to see them. So thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, because those are two different ones that I haven't thrown out so much. Okay, and then the last question is, what is something new that has struck your fancy as far as like new music or artists? So
I went to the Lord Huron show last fall with my best friend, my oldest friend from high school, Heidi. Heidi, if you're watching, it was the best concert ever. Oh. And she is a huge fan.
Was it here?
It was here at Steelhouse. And so I said, I know you love this. Should we go? And I had not been a huge Lord Huron fan. And I knew the songs. I knew The Night We Met from 13 Things. Like, I knew of him, but I wasn't a listener. I was blown away by that concert. It was one of the best concerts, most memorable concerts. The music was great. It felt cinematic the way the show was. And right now, if you were like, Lord Huron's playing in Dallas, I'd be like, let's board a plane tonight and let's go see it. So that's and now I find myself listening to him more and more and catching references. He was in one of the songs was acoustically done in the last episode of Bridgerton this season. And so it's like a little bit of an Easter egg. So how about you? What's on your radar screen right now?
I just started listening to, this is like brand new, and I will drop her link on the end of this because I can't remember her name, but there's a woman a young lady that is, this is going to get wonky, but she's using semitones, microtones. So she's taken. So you've got your octave of music, you know, da, 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 da. I mean, the ones that you know, and everyone writes songs with those tunes. Well, there are tones. There are semitones in between all of those, and she has actually tuned her keyboard and guitar, including these semitones. And it sounds on for like there's always a lot of comments under under her songs that she'll post. They'll be like, "Was that music that I listened to? This is garbage. Or this sounds like a cat." A bunch of junk like that. But there are tons of people that are like, "Oh my god!" It's kind of like watching somebody in a very traditional field doing it in a way that's just like that is beyond under comprehension.
Yeah.
But there's something about it that she does it in a way that sounds beautiful or really cool and interesting. So I mean, she plays everything. She plays keyboard, cello, guitar, and she sings with it.
Oh my gosh!
In these semitones, she will sing with it, which I. So anyway, she is definitely somebody that has absolutely caught my attention, and I'll post her link at the end of this thing too.
Very cool.
So. Anyway, it's great to talk to you.
Thank
Val.
you.
I could talk to you forever.
I know. I'm like,
as you know, just like when you come in,
I love
we
it.
just gab and gab.
I've always had a great connection, and I'm honored that you thought of this conversation for your podcast.
Well, I'm
Thank
so
you.
honored that you had me down, especially on the day after you guys opened.
Heck yeah, we did.
But I'm going to get a lot of good. I'll get some vid of the place. But yeah, it was great to chat with you.
It's great to chat with you too. Be sure to go get vid upstairs of the music recording studio, because we have a music recording studio here at Central Library and a podcasting studio.
Oh my gosh!
All free to use.
There you go. All right, come down to Omaha Central, 72nd and Dodge.
72nd and Dodge.
Central Library, Omaha, Nebraska.
Making no sense.